The topic today on that stream is Civitas Dei, the city of God. And we are starting the section 2 of the Katha Upanishad. Now, in this, we have, so it is 2, 2, 1. Those who are following the text along with me can hear. So, after approaching this truth, which the young boy Nachiketa was inquiring, what is this self? So the Upanishad speaks with different approaches in order to make the seeker understand. This section is starting with the same view in mind, but the approach is slightly different. Why is that? Why is there no one road to truth? Because the knowledge of Brahman is extremely subtle and extremely difficult to attain. We must understand that the path to the truth and truth are not the same. The path is not the goal. So that's why the goal, truth, the self, the Atman, reality, can be approached through different paths. And that's what Sri Ramakrishna has said, Jatamot Tatapot, as many faiths, so many paths. As many opinions, so many paths. So since the knowledge of Brahman is being spoken of, and all of us have different mental capabilities and capacities and qualities, we ought to orient our search according to our least line of resistance. Don't take another's path. Seek your own path, follow your own path to the truth, and test everything as you keep on growing. This section has been started to present that reality, that goal, in a lucid way for us in order to understand what exactly it is, where exactly we need to start, and then proceed. So the first verse is of the unborn one whose consciousness is unflickering. There is a city with 11 gates. Meditating on that, one does not grieve, and becoming freed, one becomes emancipated. This indeed is that. Etad vaitat. This indeed is that. This is that truth which the boy Nachiketa was inquiring. What is that truth? So the Upanishad is constantly hammering it out to him. This is that truth. Puram ekadashadvaram ajasya vaktracetasa anustaya nasochati vimuktascha vimuchyate etad vaitad. This is that. This is that. This indeed is that. Now, we know what is in our consciousness. The first thing in our consciousness is the body. And the body has taken a large part of our consciousness. So we know it. Now, this body is taken as a starting point, but an illustration has been given in order to show what exactly the body is like. It is likened now to a city, a body and a city. There are many writers who have spoken about the city as a body and the people living and this and that, and there are many parallels drawn. But the Civitas Dei, the city of God, it was first used by Saint Augustine, Augustine of Hippo, who wrote this book and became one of the foundational texts in Christian theology. It's a long story, but he was the first. And then there was a British author also used the same word. I'm using it in the sense of trying to draw a parallel between what the Upanishads brings out as a body along with the parallels with a city. That, even Romarola, who wrote the life of Ramakrishna and the life of Vivekananda, he also has used this word, Civitas Dei, the city of God. Wonderful. It's a wonderful word. So this body is a city, likened to a city. Well, in the old days we had this Greek city-states. Now most of this, our civilizations were actually of cities. Cities. The cities were the civic, the civilization. All these things come from their cities. So these cities were kind of places of culture and all this various kind of religion and all these things. The body is also a city. And in the old days, the city had gates, They were manned by guards and soldiers. So this body also has 11 gates of the unborn one. You see, in every city there is a king or a ruler. In a city there is a ruler or a king. In this body also there is a ruler or a king. And that is an unborn one, whose consciousness is unflickering, whose kind of avaktra chetasa meant it is something that consciousness is not crooked. So when a light streams in one, you can see it flow in one direction. When the photons are emitted in one, they move in a line. You obstruct it and then you see the light flickering. So your consciousness is unflickering. Whose consciousness? Of that unborn one. Who's that unborn one? Who is the ruler in this city? Which city? Your body is a city. Now suppose a city, due to some reason, it has become ancient or old or abandoned. The king can leave and go to some other place. He is separate from the city. The city is meant for the king. So similarly, this whole Sangha, the conglomeration, the you can say composition of this is meant for someone else. Who is that someone else? This is that unborn one whose consciousness is unflickering. And so unflickering, it's undimmed. So it's undimmed, it's eternal. And the city here, there is a city with 11 gates. Generally we had a city, just closely guarded, the gates or 4 gates or 5 gates or whatever. So here this body is a body with like a city with 11 gates. So what are the 11 gates? The 11 gates are, as the commentators have said, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. There are 7 gates here. One is the navel, 8. 2 are in the organ of evacuation and organ of generation. So that makes it 2. And there's 10. There's another one. Where's another one? Another one is here at the top of the head. That's where the soul of enlightened people live.
1,000-petal rose.
Sorry?
The 1,000-petal.
Yes, 1,000 petal.
They call Brahmarandra?
Yes, it's called Brahmarandra. So we have this city now has 11 gates. Okay. So like the city and the dweller in the city. The dweller is that consciousness. Now when you understand your own, oh my God, yeah, this is like a city and there is one ruler who's constantly kind of looking after everything. So if that consciousness is dimmed or flickering or anything like that, what happens? The city will suffer. If the ruler suffers, the city suffers. So this ruler is always there watching the state of your conscious mind, your subconscious mind, or your waking state, your dream state, your deep sleep state. It's always there. The next line is, one does not grieve. What is this grieve? Yeah, because why? Why should you grieve? You grieve because there is some loss or there's a fear. When you know that this body and all its, whatever its composition is meant for that ruler, then you know, oh, this body is not meant for another body. This body is not meant for enjoyments. This body is not meant for any other thing, but it's a citadel. It is the kingdom of that one. It is meant for that. So you shift your attention from the body and its needs, etc., to the owner of this place, the one who dwells in it, for one whom the body has been created. So when you meditate on that, meditating on that, one does not grieve because one is freed from fear and anxiety. And becoming freed, one becomes emancipated. Freed, what do you mean? That person becomes free from all bondages and all duties and all responsibilities. One becomes free first year. The first taste of freedom is experienced here. And then this is the relative, you can say, freedom that is experienced by the individual soul. And then the next level of freedom that's experienced is vimuchyate, becomes emancipated, that is, does not, the commentator says, does not need to take up a body again. Free from reincarnating oneself again. So this is one becomes freed from all duality, all fear and anxiety, and one becoming freed, one is emancipated. This is the idea. Now, what is the king looks like? In the previous section we had seen that Purusha, the size of a thumb, bright and without smoke. Where is it? It is there in the cave of the heart. In the deepest recesses of our being is that Purusha. Why is it mentioned as size of a thumb? Because it is delimited by that space out there, the supreme space within the heart. It appears like that. However, since we are talking about the city of God, so this is Puram Ekadvasha Dwaram Ajasravakra Chetasa. Pura, Pur is city, Puri. Now, there was a tourist who went around India, and he returned back to England, and then this friend asked him, "Oh, how did you enjoy your tour of India?" "Oh, everywhere I went, it was either poor or bad." Poor or bad? Yes. Oh, India is like that, poor or bad? Yeah. Yes. Because we have all cities in India, almost all cities have with the name ending with Pur. Hastinapur, Muzaffarpur, all these Pur. Pur means city. And bad, it's not, it's pronounced Bad. Hyderabad, Secunderabad. So with the Muslim invasion, they used to put it as bad. So it's either everything is poor or bad. So they say, what's that? Poor or bad? So this poor, this is a city. This body is now poor, puri, poor. So it is, it's a city, body likened to a city. Okay. So, and we have, like a city has different, you can say officials, You have these civic officials, you have these politicians, we have bureaucrats, we have technocrats, we have doctors, we have engineers, we have this, and they are all part of a city. Now, suppose the water and power board of LA, this power and water department, suppose they said, okay, we'll move to another city, we're not going to work here. See what happens? Everyone will have to run away from here. There will be no water and power. So, this city is made of all these various components. The body also is like that. Everything's there that functions with each and every other thing. Why is all this? To keep the body and to keep the city running. Otherwise, it will have to be abandoned. So, in this city of 11 gates, remember the 11th gate is here. That's important. I don't know, when we were young, maybe she knows. The mothers used to put oil on the head of the child, so massage it. And we are very young. At times, at least I used to retch out. What happened? Generally coconut oil is used. Where we were kind of growing up, the coconut oil, and I used to feel the taste of coconut oil in my throat, and I should not like that taste. The mother used to say, "But I'm putting the oil on the head. I'm not putting putting it in your mouth." But then I'm getting the taste of that oil here in my throat. So, and imagine the mothers who use this mustard oil or linseed oil or whatever. Mustard oil is generally used. And the child used to gag. So that was, and after I used to wonder, how come there's no kind of connection between that and here? But after many years of then studying the philosophy of yoga, then I said, oh my God, there is a subtle channel there inside. There was also another, we were also there when we were young and we wanted to, we were thirsty and we were asking somebody, let's go if you're feeling thirsty, we're playing. So those two gentlemen who were discussing some philosophy, they were so annoyed with us, breaking their conversation, saying, "What? You fellows, useless fellows, these yogis who live in the Himalayas, cut away from all people and everything, they sit down and meditate for years and years, but they don't go out and drink water now and then like you all." So we are curious. Really, they don't drink water? No. They take they curl their tongue up and they drink that nectar which descends from that 1,000 petal lotus. Oh, and we were like young, and that young believing mind was there. Later on, we said, "Oh, that guy was trying to knock us off with all these kind of big tales." But later on, when I found that, oh my God, like Sri Ramakrishna's, one samadhi, that it had to kind of, blood had to flow out from his mouth. It's a long story, but blood flowed. And there's one monk who had come, saying, "It's good that it has come out. Otherwise, that blood would have rushed to the head. You would have gone into Jada Samadhi, extreme Samadhi, which you would not have come out again." So, various other things are there. But that also is an aperture. It may not be very gross, but it is subtle. So, one of the fine, you can say, mystic nerves, which is called Sushumna, runs up through that. The Brahmarandra. So this is the city of 9 gates. And the city is meant for one who is unborn. The moment you see it's unborn, the city is born, the city grows, the city develops, but this is a different element from the city, from its components. Suppose you build a house, this beautiful house is being built. And it's built and is kept like that. Nobody moves in. What happens? Oh, after some time, as I say, it starts falling apart. The moment a person enters this house, that person's presence changes the very ambience of this house. This house now becomes alive. You see, have you ever gone to places where people do not live, in houses where people have not lived for a long time? It appears dead. Or where evil-minded people live in some houses, you see that the moment you step in such a house, yeah. So, the person who lives in the house changes the very house. The other day in the Bhagavad Gita, I said, we all know what the body is. It's always subject to growth and decay and renewal. We all know also there's something that kind of is transcendent in the body. Something that lifts you out of that pure physicality. There's something, as I say, spiritual about this body. And this has been brought out in dance and music and drama and so, where the higher element of the body and its structure is depicted. Not a kind of a body that's subject to diseases and decay and death. There is something transcendent in the body. Those talents which are manifested, that mind which is manifest to the body is different. That's the reason why even if a young child plays a violin beautifully, we all elders will stand up and applaud. Why? We are respecting something within the body, with the perishable body, yet which is some like it imperishable. You notice it? Yeah. There's something kind of divine here. And the moment, if you see that divinity has gone, then what happens, We don't even want to keep the body for long. Oh, take it out. Bury it, cremate it, do whatever it was, but take it out. There is that missing element now in the body. There's a missing element in the city. This is that whose consciousness is unflickering. You see, what happens is hitting somebody, abusing somebody, murdering somebody is in all civilization standards prohibited everywhere. Yet people keep on doing it. Why? Why do these people behave like this? And why do people kill animals and birds? The moment you can understand yourself as a distinct entity, the consciousness which is here, and we meditate on that, when we keep on understanding ourselves as a soul, you will see others also as souls. You will not hurt anybody. You will not abuse anybody. You will not kill anybody. It's as simple as that. And okay, human beings have souls. What about animals? Animals also, they don't have souls. Oh no, they too have souls. So what happens? Your ideas of divinity are now extending to the whole of creation. The more you meditate on your own divinity, on that unborn, whose consciousness is unflickering, the more you can meditate on that king within, the ruler within, that is reflected in your behavior. You will be the most, you can say, humble and gentle and loving and compassionate to everything, to all the creation. There will be no high or low for you. For you, everybody will be an embodiment of the soul, not anything else. Because we are meditating on the body, I am the body, and the body, I'm the body, I want this, I want that, I want to eat, I want to sleep, I want this, I want that. We look at everybody as bodies. And then what happens is, we tend to exploit. I only will keep this body nice and safe and comfortable by exploiting everything around me. That is how exploitation comes. And extreme exploitation becomes evil. People say, what is the cause of evil? The cause of evil is the idea that you are the body. Now switch over. The verse says, meditate on that one which is unborn, with unflickering consciousness. There you are. The moment you think of yourself as a body, you're meditating on it, taking care of it, and that's what everybody keeps on telling you. You are the body. Religions say, no, you are not the body. But everyone else keeps on telling you. We tend to become selfish. We tend to become narrow. Then there's the fear of death and anxiety and stress and depression. And when something going wrong with this body or with this mind, people take up to drugs and alcohol and go for suicide. What's this? We are we have been kind of misled about the whole thing. Can't we understand this body has a ruler here within? And the more you meditate on that, this is the idea. One does not grieve and one becomes free. As you meditate on that Atman within, that unborn, unflickering one becomes free. Free from what? Free from all the trammels of nature, free from all the wants and the distresses of nature of the body. You completely can disassociate yourself with that, which you actually are. The city collapses, the king moves out. We see it in the, when the queen bee leaves one hive and goes to another hive, what happens? Oh, that queen bee is followed by a swarm of other bees. There's a swarm of helpers. And she sets up another one. So you destroy that hive, don't destroy the queen. Destroy the hive. And then what happens? They'll build another hive. So this body goes away. This unborn one will create another body, will build another body. And so it has been going over and over and over and over again. When this, at the end of the journey, you understand, oh my God, I should have been concentrating on that unborn one whose consciousness is unflickering. Now would I become free? Free from the ideas of body, free from the ideas of further bodies. And that's the reason why I say, vimuktascha cha vimuchyate. And there is no need for further embodiment. Becoming free, one becomes emancipated. This is that. This is that Atman. Now, we'll say, okay, this is kind of understood. Now we are meditating on this anusthaya. Anusthaya means to establish oneself through meditation. We can understand this. But I have a body and everyone else has a body. So, if there is a ruler here, what is the ruler there? And here and here and here. How many rulers are there? Every ruler will create, this is my city. This is my city of God, Civitas Dei. Another ruler said, this is my city of Dei. And another guy will say, oh no, I'm the ruler here. There are people are shouting, this is my space. Don't invade my space. Nobody's space. It's nobody's space. But you think, oh, this is my space. Don't come here. This is my house. So what happened? There's a kind of a turf war. Animals, they have that, territory. No one can come out here, inside here. You come in, you're going to get a bashing. And people and animals fight over that territory. Humans also are like that. They are very territorial.
Worse.
Worse? Okay. I wouldn't know, but then thank you. Very territorial, very possessive. Oh, this is mine, this is mine, this is mine. So if you would have had many rulers, you would have created the biggest problem imaginable. So what do you do? What do you do? So, Vedanta wants to simplify things, keep it at the most simple, basic level. So the next verse speaks of that ruler as one. Okay? There are not many rulers. There is one ruler. Now this verse in the original Sanskrit is so beautiful. It's not only beautiful, and because it's beautiful and sublime and profound and so spiritual, this verse has been repeated in many other Upanishads as well as the other literature in the Vedas. So I'll read the English translation and then I'll take the Sanskrit. So 2, 2, 2. As the moving sun, he dwells in heaven. As air, he pervades all and dwells in the interspace. As fire, he resides on the earth. As soma, that's a soma juice, he stays in a jar. He lives among men, he lives among gods, he dwells in truth, he dwells in space, he is born in water, he takes birth from the earth, he is born in the sacrifice, he emerges from the mountains, he is unchanging, and he is great. Substitute he for that, and we get the idea. There is that Adrija here. Now you know what is Adrija. It's coming here. Hansa suchi sad vasurantariksha sad hota vedishad atitir duro nasad rishad varasad ritasad vyomasad abja goja ritaja adrija ritam brihat.
What does it mean?
We'll come down. We'll come down to your Guru gave you the name Adrija.
Swami Swahananda gave it.
Swami Swahananda gave it.
I wanted the name of Durga, but I didn't tell Swamiji. And he gave me Adrija.
Adrija is Durga.
Daughter of the mountains.
Yeah.
Daughter of the Himalayas.
Born from the mountain. You know, Himalayas is the mountain, and Himalayas also is the father of Durga. She was the daughter of Himalayas. So she is born from the Himalayas. And that's why she comes down once a year. And she, Cybele and all these other, goddesses are there in Roman and Greek and you can say mythologies. They have a kind of a similar, you can say, origin. It's a daughter of the mountain riding a lion, carrying a trident or a spear. It is there in many cultures. Yeah. Amazing.
So Adrija is actually the name of the father.
No, the daughter. Adrija
Adrija is the name
of Durga.
of Durga.
We'll come down, we'll explain how the Vedanta looks at this. That's a personalization of your name. So it's a Hamsa Suchi Sad Vasuran. Beautiful. It's a Ham. So you say Hamsa. Sa Ham. Hamsa. Sa Ham. There's a so hum, so hum, so hum. So hum, so hum. You breathe in, so breathe out, hum. So hum, so hum. I am that. I am that. With each breath, we are actually trying to remind ourselves, or the breath is trying to tell you, you are that, you are that, you are that. So, Hamsa. So, you see, Hamsa. If you've seen the symbol of the Ramakrishna order, in the middle is a swan. It's surrounded by a snake and is floating in the water, and there's the lotus and the sun behind. Swami Vivekananda gives the example of the serpent of yoga, the water of karma, the lotus of devotion, bhakti, and the sun of knowledge. And with the combination of all these four yogas is the vision of the Paramatman attained. And below that he wrote, Tanno Hangsa Prachodayat. May that Hangsa, may that supreme soul in us be awakened. Beautiful. So Hamsa is that supreme soul. Now what is its symbol? Here the symbol is Sa Hum. Sa Hum. Hum Sa. Hum Sa. What is the symbol? Here the symbol, and which has been explained in the Vedas also, the sun is the symbol of the self. Why? Because all life has been derived from the sun. Imagine if there was no sun. Yeah, we can imagine, of course. Everything is dark and everything will be lifeless. We can imagine like that. But the sun is the source of everything. All life. Every particle of dust, every breath of air, every creepy, crawly, everything is actually nothing but based on sun. You know, when I first came here, I said, oh, it's raining here. So Shiva says, Swami Atma Tattvananda is saying, in California, we don't say it's raining. For us, rain is liquid sunshine. Rain here in California is liquid sunshine. So here you have liquid sunshine. Everything is actually a form of sunshine. Imagine if there was. So that which is central to all life and to creation here, the gross creation, the most visible symbol of that is the sun. So that's why Hamsa, that supreme self, is symbolized as the sun. Okay? I think this is clear. So as a sun, he dwells in the heavens. That dwells in the heavens. Obviously, the sun, if it was too close to us, you know what would have happened to us. Though it is essential, we would have been fried. So, it is called the eye. Suryo yata sarva lokasya chakshu. The sun, like which is the eye of the whole world. And even in puja, before you do the puja, you know, you have a mantra, Om Tad Vishnu Paramam Padam Sada Pashyanti Suraya Diviva Chakshuratatam. You know, I salute that long striding Vishnu, that Vishnu, who dwells there and who is the eye of this whole universe and sees everything. You have to first invoke that Vishnu. Om Tad Vishnu Paramam, that long striding Vishnu, or the one whose supreme, you can say, aspect is in the heavens. Sada Pashyanti, who always sees. So we get the idea. That's the eye of the. You know, in Egyptian mythology, you have the eye of Horus. Horus was the god, and even today you have the life painting. The eye of, you know, I used to wonder, you know, in Puri we have a very famous, a very holy shrine called the Jagannath at Puri, the Lord of, you know, and there the Lord's eyes are like wide, big eyes. And you know what? When your eyes, and it's unblinking, ajasra vaktate tasa, unflickering. So whenever there's some trouble anywhere, they're saying, those guys will say, be careful, that deity with those unblinking eyes is watching you. Chokku sabu dekeche in Odia they say, you know, Odisha language. Kind of wonderful, the symbology and the kind of the connection with all of us. So that sun is the visible symbol of that supreme being. So it dwells in heaven. That is a subtle realm. As air, Vasu, Antariksha, in the middle spaces. So the heavens and the intermediate space and the earth. These are the Bhur, Bhuva, Swa. Bhur, Bhuva, Swa, Tat Savitur in the Gayatri Mantra. Tat Savitur, that sun. There also is a sun. You are praying to that sun. You're praying to that sun, you're praying to that supreme self. Make me intelligent. May I be awakened. So almost all of the ancient, you can say, religions, they had something called a sun worship. All of us were all sun worshippers.
Vishwamitra came out with Gayatri Mantra.
He rediscovered it. It is Vishwamitra. So Vasur Antariksha. So Vasu is, the commentator Shankaracharya says, Vasa is that which gives us all a place to dwell. Vayu, if there was no air, there would have been nothing. Imagine, there's a sun, but there's no air. So you have another element there. So, yeah. So that which makes everything again enlivened. So there is air outside, there is air inside, prana inside, prana outside. Okay. So that dwells as a moving, you can say, soul, sun, he dwells in the heavens. As air, he pervades all and dwells in the interspaces, pervades you, me, inside, out, everything. And then, as fire, that resides on the earth. See, the earth has the element of fire. So that is the visible manifestation of that supreme soul, sun. The sun's, you can say, representation is here in the fire. The sun is burning bright. The fire here also is burning. That's why most of us also were all fire worshippers. So fire burns when air gives rise to friction, When two bodies of air keep on rubbing against each other, you get friction, heat.
So Manipura Chakra, that's where the sun is.
Yeah, according to some. Not according to all. So, as the sun, as the air, as the fire, the visible manifestation here dwells on the earth. Oh, my fire, we also were fire worshippers. Oh. And in the Vedic literature, Agni, the god of fire, is worshipped so exhaustively. Oh, the fire, home of fire, represent the visible manifestations of that supreme being. So, however, we'll get down to the finer details later. Oh, as Soma, he stays in a jar. He had this Soma rasa. That is, in the old days, we used to press that creeper, which is called a Soma creeper. And there was a Soma yaga, the Soma sacrifice. It was a very, you can say, elaborate and very esoteric form of sacrifice, Soma.
Was it an actual drink or just like a metaphor?
No, it was an actual drink, but later on, people used that word Soma for liquor. They say Somras.
Siddhi. That marijuana type of a thing, the herb which Shiva drinks.
That's a different. That is Siddhi. That's a different herb. So we'll just read this, and we'll explain it in detail next Wednesday. So as Soma stays in a jar, and now what is in the jar? So the jar is, you can say, it is more like, the dwelling place within this. That lives amongst people, that lives amongst gods, that dwells in truth, that dwells in space, that is born in water, that takes birth from the earth, that is born in the sacrifice, that emerges from the mountains, that is unchanging, and that is great. So we are talking about the ruler, one ruler. That one ruler pervades everything and everyone. So this verse is just to eliminate the idea of many rulers. There is one, and that's supreme. That's why that is unchanging, that is great, that is, you can see, the sacrifice, and the water, and the earth, and the skies, and the space, in sacrifice, in, you can say, in people, in the gods, everywhere is that one ruler. That is, so this is the city of the gods. These are the cities of the gods. It is that one God that dwells everywhere. Okay. We stop here for today. Take this up next Wednesday. So now you know what's your Adrija.
It's born from the mountains.
Yes.
Mountains.
Emerges from the mountains.
Yeah. I like that idea.
Om Shanti 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 Hari Om Tat Sat Shri Ram Krishna Arpanamastu.